Yeah, this is the tired podcast, I guess.
Tell them what happened, Mark.
I've been working on my big Saw video for like 2 months, almost 2 months, I want to say. And I finally got it all like uploaded. I had to edit 40 minutes of that thing in a single night, which is why the latter half of the video kind of doesn't look as good as the rest of it. I also had trouble finding Spiral and Saw X, but you know what? While I was re-editing the non-copyright version, this guy I know added me with a link of both of them, and I was like, great.
Really?
Yeah. Being up from, I want to say I was up from like 11 a.m. till 10 a.m. the next morning, working on it and uploading it. And so almost 24 hours, and it got copyright claimed 10 times immediately. So then I started working on it again for like 5 more hours. So at this point I was up like, I think I was well up like almost, like I want to say like 40 hours by the end of that day.
It's also not to mention how many times you had to watch Saw 5 and 6.
Yeah, I watched those movies like 3 or 4 times. All the movies except for the last like 3, I watched a bunch.
Jane, we showed it to Sunny, we showed it to Adrian
Riley, and then we watched it ourselves.
And then you watched it for your video.
Yeah, which I was fine doing, honestly. I like those movies a lot. But it was really, really infuriating to do all that work and only for me to completely forget that Lionsgate are infamously, like, horrible for copyright. So I spent the past 3 hours at this point re-editing the whole video and taking any time a clip of the movie is featured and flipping it. And also taking the specific parts that, like, timestamp me going like it was claimed for these moments specifically and kind of, like, switching up the editing and putting new stuff on screen or, like, zooming it out and, like, rotating the fucking video around. But I predict that I'll upload it again, and they'll be like, oh, actually, this part was the part that it's claimed for, and so I'll have to re-edit it again, in which case I'll probably just put a PNG in the corner, which I really don't want to do.
Put a big watermark over it.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, it
like
could
a
always,
PNG on
it could always
screen.
be a watermark of Brian Griffin.
I don't know. I got
Brian Griffin is Jigsaw.
I want to do something that isn't intrusive.
That's understandable.
But either way, Veronica also has work in the morning, and it's like 12 a.m.
I have to wake up at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning because I have work, and yeah, it's like 11, almost 11.
Yeah,
PM.
so enjoy this tired discussion.
This is the tired sleepy time podcast, guys.
Yeah.
Buckle up because we're gonna give you an ASMR.
And my only thought is I've been so busy working the past couple weeks that I've had no time to play Fortnite OG.
Dude, okay. So I've been really playing some Fortnite OG earlier today with Adrian. Adrian's my boy. Shout out. And honestly, it's really, really hard. I've noticed this season it's really hard to find shields. It's really hard to find health.
Yeah.
They don't have. It's not really easy to stumble upon like legendary weapons that often.
That's interesting you mentioned that because I saw the Fortnite Twitter the other day actually tweet out something like, "Oh, we've made shields more common now," and it got like 10,000 likes.
Bullshit. Because like the last like 5 or 6 games that Adrian and I were playing, like I swear to God, there were no shields anywhere. You can find chug jugs I would say pretty often, as as you would be able to find those like rocket rams.
Those are the most common ones. Yeah, I noticed in the bit I played.
But like either minis, no big pots or no splashes. I don't see anything where it like team heals people.
I also think that just from the brief bit I played, I forgot that Fortnite like OG was before they introduced no build. And
it's like
so
suited only for build.
Yeah, the map is really flat.
It's really
all
flat
fields.
and big.
Yeah, which I think is cool. I like a lot of the locations, but yeah, it's that thing where
it sucks because
a lot of running around.
You're running around trying to find people. It's really boring and meandering.
Did they remove every like weapon of transportation, like the rocket ram or the witch broom or
no? They have the grappling hook and they have the like plunger gun that like sticks to like walls and like projects you forward.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So
they
the original
have those,
stuff. Yeah.
But nothing interesting.
Yeah, those are pretty situational. That is the thing about Fortnite is that the matches are like they're right in between the point of being too long. You know.
You think so?
They're not long enough to where you're actually invested. It's very likely you could do a game and be like, I'm 10 minutes in and I find nobody.
OG's on top.
You know, this is boring.
But I think that's just because of, like you said, it's because there's like a map that's like designated for building and you're in a 0 build mode.
You're meant to see like towers in the background and stuff like people building and fighting.
Yeah, because like I I will never do build mode.
Never again, yeah.
I'm so grateful for zero build mode.
Yeah, we played Fortnite together. That's the thing. If you guys didn't know, we're very into Fortnite.
Yeah, we are huge Fortniters.
I used to play it. I started working on my cringe video, and I was like, I'm going to play Fortnite just as a joke to get some footage, and I got really into it. And this is around the time I met Veronica, and so I was like, hey, come on, play Fortnite with us. And Veronica was like, fuck no.
I was like, I'm not going to play
Fortnite.
that fucking baby game.
Yeah.
And then I don't know how I think Tom convinced
you to download it, because it's free.
It's free, so I was like, okay, if it's free, I'll play it.
And for the first week, you were kind of like, like, whatever.
I was like, I don't know, whatever. And then we kept playing it, and then there's always one night. There's one night where I'm like, okay, I don't like that I'm not good at this game, so let's try to get good at this game. And I will just play it relentlessly. And I had that with Fortnite. And ever since then, I was hooked. I had that with Among Us, too.
How do you get good at Among Us?
I mean, I always got imposter, right? I always won.
Yeah, you get imposter like 4 times in a row.
Like 8 times in a row.
Yeah.
Sunny was in town, coincidentally, and so was like 2 other friends. And I think I just couldn't sleep. And so I decided to sleep in like the recording room or something, and I was so bored, but I had nothing to do, and I didn't know how to turn on any of the stuff in the recording room, and I didn't want to fuck with anything. So I just went on my phone, and I was like, oh, I know Among Us is like a new game, and I know like that's on your phone or whatever. Till 6 a.m. I played Among Us. Just online matches over and over and over again.
I could never get into it like that. The Right Opinion used to message me a lot, being like, hey, we're doing an Among Us lobby, you want to join? And every once in a while, I'd be like, sure. But after like 3 or 4 games, I'd just be sitting there in silence, like,
But that's how we started like hanging out.
Yeah, and then I would start getting bored of it, so we stopped playing. Among Us is too like repetitious. Yeah, for me. But it's a good game, and I had a lot of fun with it for a period. It was just one of those things where it did not last, and then I really wanted to get into it again when they introduced the new map, the ship
Winter
one.
Shield one.
And I don't know, it was just too big and like too fucking like much like a maze, and I couldn't get around it.
I only play Skeld, never ever play any other one. Yeah.
Among Us is one of those things where it's like it took them very long to get content out for that thing.
Yeah.
Well, didn't it? Like, which is weird because you think that. I guess it's more so just like looking at the game. You wouldn't expect it to take that long.
You know what it is though, like. Obviously, like, I'm definitely one of those people that's like, yeah, Skeld forever. But I feel like regardless, if they made, like, custom maps, do you know how fun Among Us would be with custom maps?
That would be cool. Just make, like, 30 mini-games, like, tasks to do, and it's like you can place these anywhere in the map you want. You can make the route, whatever. I think that would have brought so many people back to Among Us.
Mario Maker Among Us?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Mario Maker Mugas?
I think you could make Mario Maker a lot of games.
Marcus Mario Maker Mugas?
Yeah. I know some guy was doing, like, a Sonic Maker at one point. It's called, like, Sonic Studio. It's like a fan game, and it looks really in-depth and good.
Wasn't that an actual thing? Didn't they try to make something like that?
No,
I watched like a YouTube video about it.
No, I think Sega recently said that they would never make a Sonic like Mario Maker, which is weird. It's to rip off like Mario everything else.
But I thought there was one that was going to be in the works. Am I wrong?
Were you thinking of the Mega Man that we were watching?
Was it the Mega Man?
Maybe.
No, you're right.
The Mega Man Universe game for Capcom, and then he left Capcom in the middle of production. He's not in prison now yet? Well, didn't he get in some kind of controversy after Mighty Number 9 like recently, where everyone was like, oh, thank fuck he's gone. I don't remember.
Was it like tax, like embezzlement or something?
No, that's Yuji Naka. That's,
okay, that's what I was
but
thinking.
he was insider trading. He would like increase his stocks, I think, in Square Enix right before he knew they would announce like a new Final Fantasy game, which is very illegal, I guess.
I thought Yuji Naka was the Sega guy.
He left Sega during Sonic 06, which is one of the reasons why that game was like a mess.
Oh.
Because he was like, oh, ever since I made Sonic 1, like I got into this to be a programmer, but since Sonic 1, I just kind of got stuck to like the director, like the producer kind of position where I'm like overseeing the developers. And so he was like, I'm bored, I want to leave and work at Square Enix. Or he made his own company for a while and made like nothing popular.
He wanted to work with Sora and Roxas.
Yeah.
He wanted to hang out with Sora and Roxas.
No, he worked on Bella and Wonderworld.
Bellend, is that what you said?
No, Bellend.
Every time you said Bell in Wonderland, I always think you say Bellend.
How do you say it? Ballan?
Ballend.
A Ballan. Ballan.
Yeah, Ballend.
No, there's no D in there.
Balland Wonderland.
No, you're fucking with me.
I'm not.
Yeah, you are. There's no D in that sentence.
Is there not?
I just said there wasn't.
I told you I thought it was Bell End. No. Because I thought there was a D there. The Balland.
No, it's like
Balland Wonderland.
Yeah, Balland Wonderland.
Yeah, Balland Wonderland.
No, whatever.
Wait, whisper for all of the people who are here for our Sleepy Time podcast, the nighttime ASMR podcast. Whisper Bell End Wonderland.
Bell End
Wonderland.
Wonderland.
Whisper it. It's ASMR. It's where the
Bell End Wonderland.
Bell End Wonderland. See?
I noticed that the more I try to make my voice, well, it's not an intentional thing, it's just from me living here and like recording videos so much that I find myself trying to change my accent to be more
American,
something more clear. Yeah, because if I did all my videos, like I'm trying to like go back into it, and I don't even think I can at this point. Like how I would talk, like.
I like listening to your old videos because you sound so excited.
And worst of all, you ruined the fucking magic roundabout.
You sound excited and you're very quick with what you're talking about, but you have a voice that's like, like pitched down, lower, like more like very quiet like this, but quick.
Yeah.
Also, you know?
I think most Irish people like talk really fast, and I still find myself like falling into that. I noticed a lot because at the
talk fast.
At the start of the Saw video, we both got sick. We both got bronchitis.
We got bronchitis for like 3 weeks.
Yeah, and so the up until Saw 2, I think if you watch the video, I assume it's Saw it. Hopefully it's Saw it. God. I kind of sound more like deadpan, and my voice, I'm talking a lot faster, and that's because that was like right whenever I got bronchitis.
And you're just like, I gotta just get this recorded.
Yeah, but I was telling you as I was doing it, it's like I can't do it. I can't do the voice I usually do in videos.
Yeah, you can't
impossible.
do your YouTube or content creator voice.
Yeah, it felt like every time I would do that, I would like feel like I was suffocating after like a couple of words.
My throat would just tighten. Pinches up. Yeah.
So that's why the start of that video sounds a little different. But yeah, I think because of that, I pronounce certain weird words.
Certain weirds?
I pronounce certain words pretty weird
like what?
now. Like I can't say I like Ballan without like really overemphasizing the two, like the Ballan.
Ballan.
Yeah, I say like Ballan.
Ballan Wonderland.
When it's like Bellin.
Ballin.
But because that's how how like my accent would have me say it, Ballin, you know.
Balland Wonderland.
No, it's not.
You know, I've also noticed that you don't use as much of Irish slang for things anymore.
Yeah, that's your fault. That's just like you know, like you not like I would call like a garbage can a bin, or like trash rubbish, but or like pants trousers. But the more I'm here, the more I'm like, well, I know like what the word to use here is, so I'm just gonna use that word. Why not?
It's just because it's the correct way to use it.
No, it's the Queen's English is the better one.
The Queen's dead, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Been dead. Streets
dude, can you believe that was like a year ago the Queen died?
That was like a year ago?
Yeah.
Really?
I think it was over a year ago. I think that was like right when we moved in here.
I feel like she's been dead for years, and they've just been lying, propping up her dead body.
Who is that, like, that rumor against? That Britney Spears.
Oh, that Britney Spears is actually, like, she's not dead.
But she's, like, gone.
She's gone, and she's living her own life, and now they have, like, her parents are using a stand-in Britney.
Which isn't real.
Which isn't real, but also, I mean, if you are a schizo, they do make a compelling argument.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if maybe a couple times they have, like, had a stand-in for Britney, but I don't think that means Britney is gone. I think that means she just wasn't available to record fucking TikTok number 47, you know?
Just dancing and, like, spinning around in her living room.
Dancing like a monkey, yeah.
What kind of monkey?
I don't know, a champ.
Champ?
No, see, that's what I'm saying. I pronounce the words weird now.
Champ.
Yeah.
Oink.
Yeah, what were you saying recently if Wench got really buff and he just talked like that pig in Family Guy?
Oink.
Waiting.
Waiting.
I used to think that was the funniest thing ever, that episode of Family Guy.
It used to make me laugh so hard.
You know what, too? It used to go on, like, in my mind, whenever I would watch it as a kid, it felt like it went on forever. It felt like endless. But now I want to watch it, it's like, damn, it's over that. It's only 22 minutes. I always remembered it being like 45 minutes.
Yeah, but if you watch new Family Guy, it probably feels like forever.
It does. Yeah, we remember when we were at Sunny's house. I think it was last year, and he was like, he always
Sonny
watches
is the only person I know that keeps up with Family Guy.
He watches the new Simpsons, Family Guy, Bob Burgers,
Everything.
and American Dad.
Everything.
And I just don't get it.
What do you call that genre of cartoon?
Adult animated comedy.
But okay, but what do you call that art style? What do you call
The art style.
Like they all are the same, but they're not. You know what I mean? Simpsons, Family Guy, American Dad, Bob Burger.
I can't say anything about Bob's Burgers or American Dad, but I would
Rick and
call
Morty.
watching new like Simpsons and Family Guy like brainless, you know, where
Like
it's just kind of like
Brickleberry, Paradise PD.
They're-
That, you know what I mean?
They're much worse than new Family Guy and Simpsons. Even then, Simpsons like is kind of getting better.
But I'm saying like the art style. What do you call that art style?
I don't know what you mean, because to me, Simpsons and Family Guy has a very different art style.
Guys in the comments, you know what I'm fucking talking about.
I see. That's the thing. I know what you're talking about, but I can't. I don't feel like I'm qualified enough to pinpoint an art style to it.
You are the most qualified, considering you've watched all of these fucking like train wreck television shows and ranked them, like Brickleberry and Paradise PD and like and The Prince and like.
I would say those three shows are like the rip-off Seth MacFarlane art style.
But that. Well, but the. But the Simpsons and all that, and Bob Burger's like thrown in there too.
What about it? They have the same art style?
They're all kind of similar.
They are similar, I'll give you that.
They're all kind of similar. It's kind of like when people say like the bean mouth is the Cal art style. It's like clearly that is like they're all similar. It's like that's one ancestral art style.
Yeah, it's not Cal Arts, like it's not the Cal art style, but there is like similarities between them.
There's a term for that art style, the cutesy, wootsy, Tumblr looking.
I just think of that as like the 2010 style, you know? But then can that even define it anymore? Because it's kind of like, I would say like the 2010s, like Adventure Time sort of art style has only gotten like more used nowadays in the 2020s. Like we saw that show, like Dead End Paranormal PD.
Yeah, but think about Welcome to My Channel.
What about it? See, that's a different art style. That's the Storytime animator YouTuber art style. You're naming a bunch of different things. And Gorilla, because it's like cutesy.
His art style is like ripped off of what we're talking about. He is like like his art style is like way more like incestual of the Cal art style and 2010's art style.
I know what you mean, but I don't know if I can agree with it. I don't know if I can agree with it.
You know what I mean.
I know what you mean. I would say that's more similar to like the Jaden Animations art style, which is more like the Odd Ones Out old arts. Like it's just all like feeds into each other.
The Jaden animation art style with like the 4-panel comic art on Tumblr, you know?
Yeah,
like that art. You know what I'm talking about there? It's like it's so weird because they're all those art styles were all like very popular all around the same time. You know? Like 2010s, mid 2010s, late 2010s.
That's what I'm saying. I think it all like feeds into each other.
Yeah, they all. It's the best word is ancestral. It's all like, you know.
Yeah. I hope people don't think that like the word ancestral is like supposed to be taken negatively, where it's more just like the.
It's akin to.
Yeah.
To this, to that, to that.
To the other, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
I feel I'm so bad at explaining how I think of things and how I
think I am too.
I'm glad. No, you are very good at articulating your thoughts. I'm horrible at articulating my thoughts. So much so it gets me in trouble. But you know what I mean in that sense where it's like that art style. So back to the topic at hand.
Yeah.
What would you call that art style? The Bob Burger, Simpsons, Family Guy, Paradise PD, Brickleberry, Prince. Welcome to our channel.
I don't know. See, now you're saying that. So welcome to my channel art style.
I just like that was a joke. That was a callback joke. You're speechless.
I don't know why. See, Simpsons and Family Guy, you could make an argument for it, but I'm not gonna sit here and genuinely said that the Simpsons art style is the same as Paradise PD or Brickleberry's art style.
I would definitely say
I think that would be a disservice to like
Simpsons now. The Simpsons where Lisa and the guy who's a bully grow up and they're like best friends and he lives at the clock tower or whatever.
What about it?
That's like, that looks like Paradise PD.
No, it
Yes,
doesn't.
It does.
Simpsons has so much more like dynamic shots. There's way more effort put into like the character design. I think it's a disservice to like Matt Groening's like original art style, you know. And I know you're talking about the newer stuff.
It's so far removed from its original art style though that you can't consider it the same. You can't consider The Simpsons going into Moe's bar or whatever with all the Disney characters the same. You cannot. That's not.
That is
the
atrocious.
Same.
I see people try to defend those things all the time, and I'm like, no, this
No.
is soulless. This
That's
is the
what I'm
most like
trying-
corporate thing on planet Earth.
And so is Paradise PD. And so
But
is
not in the same
American
way.
Dad.
I think Paradise PD is like worse in the way of like there is no artistic integrity to that. The Simpsons, it has artistic integrity. It's just that from the way it is, and they've gotten better about it, but like especially in its like HD era, it's that art style pulled way back.
Yeah.
You know?
Can I real quick is Paradise PD the one with the guy where he's like this with a basketball?
No, that's Hoops. You're thinking of Hoops.
That too. That's it. That's involved there too.
Paradise PD is the cop show that was made by the guys who made Brickleberry. And it's got Tom Kenny.
Which one's the other one that's like Brickleberry, but it's not? It's about the camp.
Paradise PD.
It's about the camp.
No, sorry, yeah, Brickleberry.
No, the other one. There's
Paradise
another one.
PD.
What's the other one with
Farzard.
the other one with the little bear, the little
That's
dog?
Brickleberry. And the dog is from Paradise PD. We're thinking of the same thing.
This is like the Annabelle Insidious Conjuring thing
Yeah.
all over again. Oh goodness.
Yeah, know what it is?
What?
The Simpsons
Tell me
and
what
like
it
the
is.
Family Guy and like Brickleberry, like Paradise PD, for at least a period, because Simpsons has gotten a lot better about it. But the art styles and animation styles just feel so limited, and not in like a charming limited way, like old '90s
Like because they had
Nicktoons,
they had a budget and they couldn't afford it limited. It's more limited, like they're lazy. They
know, like,
can't
yeah,
think of
like,
anything creative.
You can't think of like fucking Tosh.0 creating Brickleberry and being like, oh yeah, that guy had like an idea for the art of this show.
Yeah, no.
Like he didn't just go like, oh, make it look like Family Guy. Or you look at like all the canceled adult shows
Or
I've
it's just
aired.
his name's just attached to it.
He's definitely like one of those things where you have the two. I forget their names. I used to remember them for a long time. You had the two creators of like Brickleberry, Paradise PD, and all. But to get, I think Tosh.0 had that show on Comedy Central at the time.
Ridiculousness.
No, I'm talking about like his news show.
No, Ridiculousness was Rob Deirdrick.
Did Tosh.0? I remember him like it was all just before South Park. I never watched it. It was like a show where it would just be him like recapping the news.
I don't know, but Tosh.0 sucked. People who laughed at Tosh.0,
I never
they're always
watched it.
they were always the skater boys who went to my high school. They thought he was so funny.
But I think in an attempt to get Brickleberry picked up by Comedy Central, they had Tosh.0 put his name on it and also voice Little Bear.
Little Bear, like Little Bear, like Franklin Little Bear.
No, like the Little Bear.
What do you mean the Little Bear?
The Little Bear in
Like the little bear from Nick
Brickleberry.
Jr.
No,
Oh.
the Little Bear in Brickleberry.
Okay,
Tosh.0 does not voice him.
I thought they like offered him the opportunity
To voice Little
to
Bear.
be Little Bear too.
No, I thought Franklin was the biggest fucking loser as a kid. I hated Franklin.
Mark loves Franklin.
I associate like watching, because I had a little tiny like box CRT in my room. I used to like wake up on sick days of school and just like lay in bed and watch it, because my mom was always one of those mums where it's like, if you're sick, you're not, like, you're too sick to get
but
out of bed.
Mark, tell me your favorite episode of Franklin.
The thing is that I only watched a couple episodes of Franklin because this one pissed me off so much as a kid, but not because I just had like a shitty little CRT. I had no cable on it, so I would just watch whatever was on.
You'd watch PBS.
And it was we didn't have PBS.
You'd watch PBS
whatever the
equivalent.
ripoff was, and it was always so early in the morning that no like kid shows were airing. It was always like baby like toddler shows.
It was always Button Moon.
It was like no, that was nighttime. That was a nighttime baby show. It was like your baby can't go to sleep.
PB and J Otter.
That aired at nighttime too, but I never really watched it. But Franklin had this one episode where it was him like drawing, and already I'm like, what? I hate how like. I feel like every time there's a new show now, they always have to have the main kid be like, yeah, I'm an artist. I like drawing. And they always draw like anime characters. And it's like clearly just the like.
What other show?
I feel like I can think of that in like Isle Heist, like Amphibia, like.
None of those shows were any of the shows we grew up with. You can't.
No, that's what I'm saying. New shows.
Oh, new shows. Oh, sorry.
But yeah, but Franklin's like drawing, and he draws this like specific skyline. It's like the gradient of the orange going into like a lighter orange than like yellow, you know, in the like dusk. And
he uses tertiary colors very well.
He gets praised for it, and his friends his friends like praise him, and then he's at school doing it, and then he looks over at his friend who is also drawing the same thing, just copying him. And then Franklin like everyone's like, "Whoa, you drew a really good one too." And then Franklin like stands up and he's like, "This guy is a copycat." And then everyone gasps like he just fucking customized.
Oh shit, you what the fuck, Franklin?
Yeah, and the teacher's like, "Wow, Franklin, I'm very disappointed." And he's like distraught. And I'm like, "This is
Franklin, you limp dick bitch."
I was like 8 years old, so I was too old to like buy into the drama. So I was like, "That's not a fucking curse word. Like, why? Like, who cares? Like, this teacher's acting like he just fucking called him a slur, you know?" And then I think
guy's a fucking.
The episode ends with something like Franklin walking up to him, being like, "I just realized that I draw this thing, like this cool character that I have, but I drew him based off this other existing character, so everyone's a copycat."
He realizes that he takes
He's not hot shit,
inspiration.
yeah.
Franklin never was hot shit. That fucking dickhead is turtle soup, dude.
Fucking stupid little head.
I fucking hate Franklin.
His ascot. Me too.
Look at fucking Franklin right now. Look at this.
I know we saw recently that that completely escaped from my mind was that Irish CG show of the little pig. It was the little pig running around with the little cow and the pig. It looks really horrible, and it's Irish. And I would vividly remember like seeing that on TV at friends' houses when that friend didn't have cable. You know,
I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
We watched it the other day.
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what you're talking about.
I can't even give it that much of a description because I only watched the trailer that we saw the other day.
You know what's funny is something that we've always bonded over with Jane is like we like to watch like weirdness things from like our childhood that like give us like eerie nostalgia. And so I think when we were on one of those kicks, we stumbled upon what you were talking about. Because I remember The Hills.
Yeah, but that's like it's not nostalgic for me. It's just kind of like one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. It like unlocked something when I saw it again.
It's like you can completely put yourself in the place and time of what you associate with that. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's always Toon Disney. That always like brings me right back to like childhood.
Yeah, I barely watch Disney. For me, it's only like Nickelodeon. It's like seeing like the. I didn't even grow up really during this time period, but because they'd always re-air these and I'd always watch it, I have like nostalgia for like the presentation of shows like The Amanda Show or like early Drake and Josh or like the bumpers that have at the end of it or like the Nickelodeon logo at the end.
I know what you're talking about.
The lightning bolt. The light bulb with the electricity around it.
The Frederator.
Yeah, Frederator. I associate that with like going to my granny's house after school and like doing my homework. Nah, that was a little too late for me. Or maybe they just didn't air them where I lived.
I remember those.
That's the thing. Sometimes I can't tell what's a show that I just didn't grow up with or what's a show that just didn't air in Ireland, you know? Like, because there's shows like... like shows like Jimmy Neutron where I think like, oh, that never... I think I remember like once or twice having it air where I lived. But I grew up in the exact time period where that show should have been airing. But it just like Danny Phantom never aired where I was, or My Life's a Teenage Robot.
Yeah, you would have been like 4.
Yeah,
you would have been like 4 or 5 when those things had come out.
And I would have been like,
Danny Phantom wouldn't have held your interest. I don't think.
I think I was watching like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents at that point, so I think it would have.
You cannot hold me within the confines of a cylindrical container.
Danny Phantom? I don't think so.
You know what, too? I think about, like whenever I was younger, and I didn't really watch, like, little kids' TV for very long. You know, I feel like I just kind of immediately jumped into, like, Nickelodeon and stuff like that. And I try to think back, and I'm like, how was I introduced to that?
You did watch little
I
kid
probably don't
TV,
remember it.
You know, exactly. Like, for instance, a good example is that CD with the music videos.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that stuff. Like, I bet you if you had vivid imagery of things you would have watched as a little kid, you would have been like, what the fuck, I remember that.
I would watch like Bob the Builder and
Handy Manny
and Boobah.
What the fuck is Boobah?
Remember Boobah?
No, I don't remember.
Boobah on screen. I had a VHS of it.
Boobah.
It's weird. I don't
Is
have
it
my
a big
phone.
giant breast, a big giant titty?
Can I grab your phone?
Sure.
In Boobah, I remember the intro.
Why do you keep saying it? In
It's
Boobah?
called Boobah.
Intro.
I remember the intro will be like Boobah. I'm telling you, you'll get it. Okay, this is the intro to Boobah.
Okay.
See, that's how it opens.
It's like a giant missile.
It's
fucking
creepy. It's unsettling.
Ready to murder everyone.
Sounds like the opening to Sonic Adventure.
And they're, what the fuck?
Yeah. They're like weird
What the-
anthro babies.
The fucking giant comet comes to them.
Wait.
And it's, where are their parents? Why are they just left in a field? They're like miles away from civilization.
It's been so long that I remember that intro song, but I don't remember any of the visuals, so I have no idea what you're looking at right now.
I'm looking at a bunch of kids jumping up and down.
Yeah. Okay, I do remember this now. You gotta see what the Boobahs look like, though.
The Boobahs. There's more than one.
There's multiple Boobahs.
Multiple Boobai.
Yeah, Boobah.
La Boobai. Here they come. You know, I find it wildly inappropriate that where their setting is and how the music changes and
I told you, see?
and it's still going.
No, these are the Boobahs right here.
It's still going.
See, it's like mystical. So look at that.
Don't tell me
That's
it's
them.
that.
Yeah,
I know what that
you see
is.
it every now and then.
I know what that is. I've
it's-
seen like toys of this in like stores and stuff.
I was just about to say I had a toy of one of them. I remember now.
I used to see toys of it. I never knew that's what this is. What the fuck?
I know we probably got rid of it.
This is awful.
Yeah, I
This
watched.
looks
I had a
retarded.
VHS of that as a kid. It's dumb. Yeah, so I was probably watching stuff like that. But I think back to like the time when I was watching SpongeBob, like when I was like 4, or like Fairly Odd Parents, and I'm like, damn, why was that? Like, did that hold my attention as a kid, or did I like know what was going on, or like?
You definitely did. You definitely knew what was going on. If you were 4 years old and your mom was like, "What's going on in this episode of SpongeBob?" You'd be like, "Oh, Patrick is like sucking
Shitting
Squidward's nose." Like,
Yeah. But I feel
Patrick's
like
taking a dump on Squidward's lawn.
I feel like I had
you?
I had like cousins, little cousins who growing up at
With
4, no, at 4 would still be watching like baby TV, you know?
That's reasonable.
That's what I'm saying. It's like when I was 4, I feel like I was watching like,
When you were 4, you were in preschool or kindergarten. I mean,
yeah.
you know, like
But then I also think about when my little cousin was like 6 and I saw him on his iPad watching SS Sniper Wolf. That was like my first time when I was like, oh, this
is that the
what's
one
gonna
bitch that
happen.
docs Jack Films?
Yeah. Your
Your little cousin was watching that?
yeah.
Really?
I caught him watching it once, so he must have been watching it much more on his iPad at home.
I don't
and
know. I don't know if I've said this before, but one time I caught one of my siblings looking up like Tifa tits. Just Tifa tits. I was in like the browser history. And I was like, who did this? My cousin used to look up Disney princesses, like their names, and then boobs. So it'd be like
Whoa.
Jasmine boobs. And clearly it could be any
Yeah,
fucking
anyone
porn.
called
It could be
Jasmine.
any porn like actress online named Jasmine who shows their boobs. And
Yeah.
my
You gotta
cousin
use more
thought-
specific names, like Mr. Beast.
My cousin thought it was really funny. She would set it as a screensaver. I think I've said this before. But she said the screensaver, and as soon as you would turn off the computer, like
She said that's a screensaver?
she set up like this girl like flashing her tits as a screensaver, and then my mom saw it and was like, "You better fucking like get rid of that, or so our aunt doesn't find out, or she'll be pissed, right?"
Yeah.
So my cousin puts on a different screensaver, but right when you would turn off the computer, it would like flash the old screensaver for a split second. So it'd be this girl's tits, like her flashing her tits for like 1 second, and then it would turn off.
I remember I went to school once, and it was primary school, so I was like it, I think, and I didn't know really how the internet worked. We had like a really crappy laptop in our like family's living room, and the kids were all like talking about RedTube, and they were like, "You going to RedTube? Like RedTube's fun. It's just so like
How
crazy."
old were you guys?
I was like it,
That's fucked up.
and I remember being like, "What is RedTube? Is it like YouTube?" And they were like, "Go home and look it up." And I was like, "But what is it though?" And they were like, "No, you got to go home and look it up." So I was like, okay,
Did
sure.
you go home? Did you look it up?
I went home and I was like, went to my sister and I was like, let's look this thing up. Like, people at school were telling me to look this up.
Ooh.
So we looked it up and it was like the first, like, we got to the homepage and immediately we started to like, we were like frightened. We were like screaming and then like immediately closed the tab and we're like, what the fuck?
Or lemonparty.com. It was
Yeah.
a bunch of old people fucking.
Whenever I first got into high school, I was very gullible. Tom, the mouse, me and Tom didn't like each other for like the first week or two of school, and so he was like, "Oh, go home and like to join our little Minecraft club, you have to like go to this website. It's lemonparty.com." And I was like, "Okay." So I looked it up, and I was beside my mom, and I looked it up, and she was like, "What are you looking at?" And I was like, "I don't know. Some kid told me to look it up." And then she was like, "Oh, well, close it." And I was like, "Sure, okay." Like,
That was the end of it?
Yeah, that was the end of it.
That's a pretty good way of handling like inappropriate things with your child.
To be like, I don't know either.
To have like a calm demeanor to be like, that's inappropriate.
I feel like that's better
not do
than like
that.
screaming at your kid. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you're screaming at them, then your thought is, that was really wrong. Let's do it again.
Yeah.
You know? Would you say that you were a difficult child to like take to the doctors?
I was pretty bad about getting shots. I didn't mind going to the doctors, but when getting injections, I was like the
Kicking
kid
and
who would,
screaming kid.
maybe not kicking and screaming my parents, but I was the kid who, whenever they got in the room, I would like run around, you know, in circles.
Really?
Yeah, and be like, no, don't get that anywhere near me. And then if it would go on for like 20 minutes, and I'd be like, all right, I give up, just do it.
Oh.
Then it'd go over in like
Take me
5
away.
seconds, and my parents would take me for like ice cream after it down the street, and I'd be like, okay, this is fine. Which in retrospect, I'm like, okay, if I had a kid and that was the case, I would not reward them for eventually like giving in.
I suppose giving them some sort of positive of
Like,
the
see, this is what
experience.
happens when you do it. Yeah, like us giving little wench ham when he goes and pees outside, even though he pees in the house just as much.
Yeah, exactly. You and I both caught him today trying to pee inside. Earlier,
did you?
Yeah, earlier I saw him trying to pee on the trash can in the kitchen, and I kicked his ass out. And then, like, not even 30 minutes later, he's fucking trying to pee on the TV stand.
Speaking of the TV, though, you know what we've been watching, guys, recently? We've been
Grey's
watching-
Anatomy.
I know, I can't talk about. I haven't been watching this.
I have been watching so much Grey's Anatomy, and oh my god, it's like my new favorite show. Okay, but
My only exposure with Grey's Anatomy is knowing that South Park would make fun of it a lot for being just boring.
did it?
Yeah, or they would make it like a boring like white woman show. Is how they describe it.
What Carol and I really enjoy is Grey's Anatomy. We love Grey's Anatomy, don't we, Carol?
We adore Grey's Anatomy, don't we, Nancy?
Adore it.
It is so like not boring, no. It's so like captivating.
Yeah,
You would like it.
I don't know. We're watching
We don't
through
have
Gen V, the boys
Oh, yeah.
spinoff, and it's so like
Gen V.
it's so like I don't hate it, but I don't really like it.
Yeah, there are some things I like about it, but there's really nothing about it that really keeps me giving a shit. The only thing I like about it is Cricket.
All the
She's my
college stuff
favorite.
is so generic. The humor is horrible. And we haven't watched it all yet. We're like halfway through, and my only thought ending the last episode was like, why does every character need to hook up with another main
Yeah,
character?
they all just have to fuck each other.
Yeah, so you
You
have.
know what? That's every show. That's Grey's Anatomy.
I would rather that than a show with like no. It's like, okay, this goes into the other thing we were
Yeah.
watching. We watched the first episode of the Orville today, Seth MacFarlane's Star Trek
And
ripoff.
this is the thing is the biggest thing I was telling Mark is it's trying so hard to be Star Trek, obviously, because he's very inspired by it. Like, I get it. But it's missing like the biggest component of why Star Trek is compelling. All these fucking beautiful ass actors like William Shatner and Jonathan Frakes and like Patrick Stewart, like all of them all have a strong sex appeal, and there's this like power dynamic or struggle and some sort of like, you know, there's always just some sort of sexual tension.
A Betazoid woman, when she goes through this phase, quadruples her sex drive.
Or more.
Or more. Never told me that.
I didn't want to frighten you.
Yo, bro, who got you smiling like that? Like,
From the little bit I've seen of Star Trek, that seems different from the Orville. To be fair, we've only watched episode 1.
Yeah.
But Star Trek is kind of written and directed and acted like a soap opera.
Yes,
it's like
it's
a
a
soap
novella.
opera in space. Whereas the Orville is like your flat angled,
But that's
like
the thing.
flat colored comedy show.
Star Trek has the pacing of a novella. The Orville does not have good pacing.
It
does
has the
not
pacing of Family Guy.
It does not, yes. But worse, because Clearly, Seth MacFarlane knows how they take their breaks when it comes to certain like scenes with like characters having dialogue, right? And then I'll have like a wide shot of like the ship with some French horns.
I also
playing.
noticed all the titles are the exact same like kind of
Same
way
font and
that
same-
even like the way they're worded is the same as
the titles and
yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Like
and
what the first episode's called Old Wounds.
So it's just I can appreciate what he's trying to achieve here, but he's missing the main reason why it's good, and he just put himself in there
As the main character,
Like-
which I kind of respect the idea of like I have fuck you money. I'm making my own
making my
version of Star
own
Trek
Star
where I'm the
Trek.
main character, and he got 3 seasons. It feels like he wants to do Star Trek, but he knows that he's Seth MacFarlane. He's the funny guy, so he's got to insert all these jokes.
But he's not even the funny guy in the show.
No, he's just kind of like the
straight
snarky
guy.
everyman.
It was exactly how you said, where he's just a million ways to die in the West. Seth MacFarlane thrown
And
in the space
he-
environment.
He cannot do that kind of character well. He cannot do the snarky like I'm gonna like
He
fucking
could.
just be.
He could, but he wants to be the swell guy. It seems like he always wants to be the fucking like neato, nice guy, average plain dude. Like he has no, because think about it, there is no like overarching personality type that he has when he plays his character. The only one I could think of is Ted. He's like extremely profane, but that's
Yeah.
it. That's literally it. It's the same character.
You know what I was gonna say? Like Ted is like Peter Griffin to me.
Really?
But like Mark Wahlberg's character is like.
The
If
average
Seth
guy.
MacFarlane could have, he would have played Mark
His own
Wahlberg's
character.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it would have made the movie infinitely worse.
it really
It
would
really would have.
yeah.
Mark Wahlberg sells that character. I'm sure if Mark
Because he's
Wahlberg was in A
charming.
Million Ways to Die in the West, it would have been great.
Okay, tell me about the Orville. What do you think?
The plot of the first episode is that he's working with his ex-wife. But the whole thing is, you're like, okay, that could be like open for some like interesting scenes of them like talking about like what happened, but it's all just used so Seth MacFarlane can make snarky like I regret getting married jokes, like just to random
True.
characters. It doesn't matter who the character is. He just makes
Yeah.
a joke like, "Oh my, this is my bitch ex-wife," you know?
That's the whole
And it's like
thing.
that's not charming. That's not likable, and it's
Also-
not an interesting thing to do with that subject.
How they established it is literally it just opens the episode with him being like and he sees his wife like fucking some blue guy,
Yeah,
and that's it.
and this thing is treated like a comedy scene, you know, and
But
then it
it's-
just
but it's-
immediately is like 1 year later.
It's a comedy scene with no punchline. The only punchline is like the blue guy that his wife is fucking like squirts blue everywhere.
and that is the joke.
That's the joke.
But you're also meant to take that seriously and feel bad for this character that we don't know.
Yes, and then they like follow it up with him having a talk with the commander, and the commander giving him an opportunity to work on his own ship and be like a captain of his own ship.
Yeah.
And then it's implied like we know this whole year you've been really slacking because of that whole divorce thing.
Yeah, and it's like, why aren't we seeing that? I get you want to like start the show, but
Why couldn't that be a struggle we would watched?
yeah, because the episode ends with them just kind of resolving their differences mostly and being like, well, we're just gonna work together now. And
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, why is that? Is that really the theme of this entire show?
But you should also like you should go into the reveal at the end. How like it's just Mark.
Yeah, the reveal that she was the one who got him the job in the first place so she could work with him.
It was this thing where like Mark made a comment that was like while we were watching that it stuck out to me, and it was completely like affirmed by the end of that reveal. It was like, oh, so the ex-wife is like the smarter, better version of him. She just does everything perfect.
Yeah, for the whole first half of the episode, it's like you're on Seth MacFarlane's side, and the episode's clearly being like, fuck her. All the other characters are like, she's a bitch. But then she just proves to be like overly competent at everything, and she does all these little like fucking cool like smart decisions, and then Seth MacFarlane will tell a joke and she'll be like, this is the better version of that joke, and he's like, you're right, that is way funnier.
But you know what's so funny is, see, in Star Trek when they have things like that, it is always a case where like where the professionalism and being a Starfleet officer matters more than like whatever the personal differences that you have or personal issues that you have with the person, right? And you learn how to like work as a team. It's always the question of morality with Star Trek. And so with the Orville, they're like replicating that in a less authentic, genuine way.
Obviously, again, we have heard that it gets better.
Yeah, we were talking to Jeff. Because Jeff had been telling me to watch the Orville, and he'd recommended that both Mark and I watch it too eventually. And so Mark was like, we should just watch it. So we finally pulled the trigger on it. And I'd bitched about it to Jeff, and he was like, honestly, the later seasons, I'm telling you, there are episodes where they don't even have one Seth MacFarlane joke in it. It's like taken seriously.
That's the thing. I'm hoping as it goes on, Seth MacFarlane feels more comfortable to not be the funny guy 24/7.
And who knows? Maybe he needed to sell it that way just so it can get started.
Yeah, who knows? I know there's probably like some fucking politics behind it, or like
you're the funny guy. It's got to be funny.
He sent them like Fox the script, and he's like, "Here's the Orville," and they're like, "Where's the jokes though? You're Seth MacFarlane."
That's true. Yeah. So we got to give it more of a chance. We only watched the first episode.
Yeah, but right off the bat, I'm like, Orville, not impressed, you know?
The only reason why I'm holding on is because it's Seth MacFarlane, and I think he's handsome, and it's Star Trek, and I love Star Trek.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Although, you know what it is, too, though? It's missing... Seth MacFarlane tries to look too clean-cut. He has, like, all this makeup on his face, and I think it would look much more authentic if he just looked like a guy.
It's like A Million Ways to Die in the West, where he has all the makeup on in that movie, too.
That movie looks like a stage play,
He looks like a wax figure, and you can clearly see he's got, like, a hair transplant.
He's got work done.
Yeah, like, his hairline is just so defined, or they, like, colored his hair or something, and it sticks out so obviously that it doesn't...
He looks like a fake human, and it's harder to empathize for him when he looks like a robot.
He looks like Bicentennial Man.
Yeah.
No offense, Seth MacFarlane. Please come onto our podcast.
You should tell, because you sent me that photo recently, and even then I had to like double take to even know who it was, because he looked so different.
Okay, so I was at work the other day.
Well, you got to start with like the podcast we did last year.
So we obviously, as you guys know, we opened up our podcast last year with doing an interview with Butch Hartman. And one of the very first things we brought up with Butch Hartman was his failed pilot series called Zoomates. And it was a show that him and Seth MacFarlane both created and worked on together.
Yeah.
And so in our first episode with Butch, we'd asked him if he'd still talks to Seth, and he'd said that they hadn't talked in a really long time. Yeah. And so we recently...
When we heard that, we were kind of disappointed.
We were disappointed because we kind of just thought,
I don't know. To keep the dream alive, yeah.
Yeah, and it was also a thing where we were like, oh man, we were hoping like we'd get... So one of these days we could just meet
Seth MacFarlane. He's like way harder to reach than Butch Hartman, I imagine.
And so about like... What, a month ago or so, we were at... what was it? What con was it? We went to a con that was in Burbank. Butch Hartman happened to be there. Toon Con. Butch Hartman was there. Darren Norris was there.
Wanda was there.
And so we got to meet him, and he actually, funnily enough...
He remembered us.
And he also asked if he can take a photo with us on his phone.
Yeah.
So we were like, wow. He likes us. He really likes us.
But even more so than ever, I'm like confused. I'm like... So did you see the podcast or not? Like, do you know who we are or not? Like, I don't know.
Well, but you know what's even funnier is that a couple days ago we saw that he had made this post.
Look who it is. Whoa.
Look who he's with. Mark was like, you know, Veronica, the fact that he had taken a photo with him means that that's the only way we're going to be that close.
This is the closest we ever are to Seth MacFarlane. Yeah. On Butch Hartman's camera roll in his pocket. But then Veronica, with a straight face, like turned to me and was like, "Do you think Butch Hartman talked about us at all?" And I was like, what? In what context was Butch Hartman in it talking about us?
I was like, you think he like brought us up, you know, like talked about us?
Yeah, no, I don't think he did.
What do you mean in what context? You want to know what context? The context that we are kind of the reasons why he got lunch with Seth MacFarlane.
No, we are not.
We brought up Zoommates a year ago.
From 1 year ago, 2 years ago almost.
2 years ago, he remembered us interviewing him, and he hasn't forgotten. So much so that he wanted a photo with us. Why wouldn't he bring us up?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't he say something about his old pals here at Meeting Halfway?
Yeah, we gotta use this now to get Seth MacFarlane sitting right here.
Yeah,
guys.
he could be sitting right here with a little winching.
You know, we haven't had a guest in so long, and it's just because we have not been looking.
We've been busy.
We had a couple of guests lined up.
That we
some
just
pretty notable ones too that we
hadn't
just
followed
forgot
through
to
with.
follow up on. But also because I like just doing these like simple ones where it's just us talking.
I do too. I do like that this is not just a interview only podcast.
Yeah, but I was wishing we could. I talk about this in my video for an extensive period of time, but we were trying to like record the game on the Elgato on our PS3, and it just was not. It took us like hours.
You know, I always kind of had like my eye would twitch every time you said the PS3 was shit. Not because I ever had a PS3, but only because my older brother had one, and I'm like, oh, my older brother knows best, right?
Yeah.
So every time you're like, PS3 fucking sucks, I'm like, whatever. You know, but then we actually tried to record on the PS3 and it fucking sucked.
And then the console is just like a piece of shit.
Yeah, the console isn't good and the controller sucks and the controller's
disc
ugly.
got stuck, yeah.
Yeah, and then the disc got stuck and we had to go to like
Home Depot.
We went to 2 different game places to ask them if they could just help us manually eject the disc.
And it's just a case of having a screwdriver. And the first guy was like, yeah, this might take a couple of weeks. And we were like, okay, we'll go to the other guy. And the other guy's like, yeah, this might leave it here till the morning. And it was like, no.
No.
So we just drove to Home Depot, got a screwdriver, and got it out
We
in
did it
5 seconds.
Yeah, we did it ourselves, like in the parking lot.
But also we have this fun little series we want to start up. This like drawing series that we got to do. It's just in case we record. It's finding the time.
It's really finding the time, but also figuring out how to set it up.
Yeah, we don't have a lot of equipment and we don't have a lot of room either. Unfortunately,
very limited in here.
Yeah,
but
maybe
you
at
know
some
what?
point in the near future.
Who knows? Maybe in the future.
Get ready, guys, for more content eventually on this podcast. I feel bad that we don't upload weekly at that minute, but
we said we were gonna do bi-weekly.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, I said that to you.
No, it's in our bio.
No, it says weekly in our bio.
Does it? Oh, we gotta change that.
After Christmas, I think we'll be a lot less busy.
It's been a very, very busy year.
Yeah, extremely busy.
Honestly, since May, it's just been nonstop. It feels like.
Yeah, but we'll get back on it, guys.
Yeah, we're gonna do a cool, epic Thanksgiving special.
Are we?
Yeah. We're gonna get rotisserie chicken, and the dogs are gonna join us, and we're all gonna have
all the dogs lip smack.
Yeah, we're all gonna have a Thanksgiving dinner. You guys would want to see a Thanksgiving dinner, right?
Either way, guys, thanks for watching this another episode of Meeting Halfway. I was Mark.
He was Mark, not anymore.
Yeah.
He's not Mark anymore.
Is it I'm Mark?
Disappears, slowly disappears.
You got me edit that in.